Hey guys, my name is Lance Smith, and today I want to pose the question: how do you get your news? How do you use social media? And do you use it as mainly a social thing, or do you use it also to get news? And kind of what is the ratio there? Because I would venture to guess that most of us, including myself, get most of our news from uh, platforms such as Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. There aren't very many people our age nowadays that are going to sit down and use intentional time watching a traditional um, news network such as Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and so on and so forth. And so, have sought to answer is, man, how does that influence us, and how does that impact our decision making and the way we act, the way we speak, and ultimately the way we live? That's kind of the smaller question, and the bigger question that these articles, serve to answer is the state of media today harmful to democracy? And so that's kind of the macro question. And so the first article that I want to refer to and use is social media, fake news, and fake COVID-19 cures in Nigeria. And the main point that I got from this article was they surveyed adults 18 and over who use social media and surveyed just kind of how they use social media and where they got their news. And they found that 78% their main source of news was social media platforms. And even more alarming is that same 78%, the main source of information on the COVID-19 pandemic came from social media platforms, which is alarming and troubling for obvious reasons, because, it's just anyone can put anything out there, regardless of whether they are certified or whether they've researched this. And it can just be so easy to just fall into a trap, a spider web, if you will, of just lies and misinformation. And so just to see a number that high is truly alarming, and definitely woke me up to like, oh shoot, like I need to be paying attention to what I'm consuming and how I'm getting my news. And so the second article is titled "Media and Global Pandemics: Continuities and Discontinuities." So this one is based in China, and it kind of piles onto that argument of, getting information from social media is it's really dangerous, and it claims that getting your news and your media from social media platforms and from different platforms of that sort creates a tsunami of misinformation. And further, they argue, it's a really interesting argument that, excuse me, I gotta breathe. They argue that fighting misinformation is just as important as fighting the pandemic itself. And the reasoning for that argument is because there's so many people that get their news from social media, from Twitter, and we live in a fear porn society where the news and everyone just wants to scare and get all the clicks and do whatever they can to get the most views, and that can create such a anxious and depressed and afraid society. And we've seen that in America because we have depression rates that are higher than ever. We have loneliness rates that are higher than ever, suicide rates higher than ever. And it can just be so dangerous because it's so easy to fall into that trap. And so that's the point that I got from that one. And then my final source is called More Than Fake News. And this one comes from a bit of a different angle. I really need to work on my breathing, excuse me. So this is a study of politicians and how they use media and weaponize media to delegitimize media sources, the mainstream media. And man, it's just kind of opened up my eyes to, man, just how it can all be used, how social media can be used by politicians and by people who are supporting their agenda, to just it's a immediate firestorm of misinformation, and ultimately turns into a culture of who can scream the loudest, and that's just so dangerous and not at all right. I think we combat that by being empathetic listeners and seeking to understand. And so, yes, I do think that the media today is harmful to democracy. And I hope that I've been able to kind of convince you of that and inform you of that. And I hope everyone had a great time. I hope everyone has a great day, night, whatever you are. Cheers.